today we are with Kelli out of Las Vegas, and we've known each other for about a year when we discovered your fantastic Tesla Model X that you built for the SEMA show. Fantastic build, and we'll have some images of it. And let's recap real quick what you did with the Model X, and then we'll talk about this beauty.
Okay, so with the Model X, we decided to go with the plaid version. We decided to do a little customizing that maybe nobody had done yet. We did a triple layer wrap, so it was a very unique color, very sparkly, kind of my style. We did some oversized wheels, had them one-off made, put an awesome stereo system. We had some great partnerships with that, and we are on our way to do some more. Unfortunately, we didn't get that finished.
All right, so that's the past. And now you've upped your game, and instead of simply modifying a Model X, you went all in, and you're going to convert this truck into a full EV one with a really special way of doing it. Tell us more about it.
So when I go to car shows, me and my husband have been doing cars for a long time now. I am really drawn to the old classic trucks for some reason. I don't know, my personal preference. But I also love driving my Teslas. So I had made this comment to my husband. I said, I want one of these old trucks redone, but I want it to drive like my Tesla. So he's like, well, has anybody ever done that? And I said, well, I know there's a lot of EV conversions going on, but I want everything from the Tesla.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to do.
Okay, so what's the plan? What did you get to be able to do this build?
So I bought a Tesla, a salvage Tesla, but very great condition. It basically had 700 miles on it, a little bit of damage, bought it from auction, bought a couple of trucks.
Why a couple of trucks?
It was a 2-for-1.
Okay.
So I bought 2-for-1, and we have 2 different ones to choose from as far as body parts and whatnot.
Okay. Did you want this generation of Ford pickup truck in particular, or was it just the opportunity to?
Well, I wanted something even more unique, and with the F-100, they made the unibody. If you can see that the bed is not separated from the cab. So they only made this truck in 3 years, a 61, 62, and 63. So I have a 62 and a 63.
All right, what are the next steps?
So right now we've gotten to a point where we've torn down the Tesla. It's disassembled. Yeah. This next week we're going to be taking the white truck over to the fab shop, and we're going to start breaking it down and figuring out what we need to do as far as combining the two together. Okay,
so you will start with a dual motor Model Y, almost brand new, obviously crash damage, and your team has been chopping it all off into 2 bits, and you will not keep the skateboard chassis platform. You want to use the component individually and build it on a frame. Why did you choose this option?
I think that will serve the truck better. I think that we'll be able to display the undercarriage, suspension, and everything if we can build it from frame up.
Okay. And so you will be reusing the battery pack as is, and you will install the motors on the custom-made chassis.
Yes.
What else will you be using from the Model Y?
Well, we plan on using everything we can. We want the brains of the Tesla to basically stay as if it thinks it's a Tesla. So everything from the dash components to seats to, I don't know, whatever else, airbags, air conditioning, cameras, just everything, so it doesn't have any of these codes saying, wait, where's this component? We want it to have all of its components. Of course, a lot of this stuff's going to have to be modified to fit into the cab or in the space that we have, but...
Could you show us the cab as it sits now?
Oh, yeah. I don't know if you can tell.
So as you said, was a farm truck.
Yeah.
Has it been staying unused for a long time, or was it still driving up at her recently?
No, there is no engine. It's not been used for a lot of years. It's pretty much a shell with how I received it. It's in bad shape.
Okay. And you will not keep the fantastic patina. You want to go all in short truck.
Yeah, I want it to look more luxury like a Tesla, but with the classic shape of that truck.
Okay. So you're probably one of the first, if not the first, to choose for this option as far as repurposing component from the Y doing a truck.
Right.
Do you think it's the beginning of a new wave, a new generation of not only EV conversion, but the off-roading in general and customization in general?
I think with the builds that me and my husband have done, we've always kind of been a little bit ahead of the game to where there isn't going to be a lot out there when we get this done. But I think that people will catch on, especially with the industry now. There's just so many EV companies, conversion companies out there that you just have to get more creative in what you're doing.
Okay. Could you tell us more about why you opted for a truck? I know you had, we said this, you had a fantastic Model X. This is the polar opposite of a family wagon. What made you choose a truck?
Well, I have a Model X still as my daily driver. So I think I just wanted something of my own, not a family daily driver, but something I could customize, something I could build, something I could enjoy, and of course show off a little bit.
So what timeline are we talking about?
Oh, if it was my choice, it would be in SEMA this next year, but I'm not sure. When you get into the guts of a fabrication like this, anything could happen. So we'll have some hurdles, I'm sure, along the way, but we have a lot of contacts and a lot of people supporting as far as when we come across those things that we'll be able to get the help we need to finish.
So it will be ready when it's ready.
Yes, exactly.
And then what's the plan with it? Is it going to be a short truck? Is it going to be your daily driver? Is it to be sold off?
I plan to show it at least a year, drive it for a while, and then we'll see from there.
Okay. So what are your expectations once it's ready? Do you anticipate it to have the performance of the Model Y? Is there any way to upgrade the drivetrain? Or you don't really mind the power, just want the best look and the best experience, as if Tesla had built this truck back in the days?
I expect the power to be pretty similar. We took the weights of the two vehicles and they're pretty even. Mm-hmm. So once we've gotten all of the Tesla stuff into the shell of the truck and there's no more motor in the truck, I think the power pretty much be what it is in the Y.
Okay. So you showed me pictures of the rendering of what you want. So I anticipate this will be like on the ground with nice wheels. Could you tell us a bit more about everything you'll be doing? Paint, wheels, suspension, and also interior trim.
My fabrication guy over Old Man Customs, he's got a really unique idea for suspension. I'm not going to reveal that at this point because he's doing something really, really fun with it. So, but it's going to be very custom. It's going to lay on the ground. It's going to be one of those lowered truck, show type trucks, but with all of the EV benefits.
Okay. What is the plan as far as shows? What type of shows will you be taking this?
It's hard to say with an EV. Of course, I'll have local shows, but as far as the big shows, I would really like to do the circuit. I don't know how receptive the show circuit is to EVs at this point. A lot of times those judgings have sheets for motor. So if I can maybe show the motors and display things, I can have the points I need to really compete. We're going to have to see how that works out.
All right, I think now it's time to go see the donor Model Y. So let's head to the shop. Maybe you can introduce the shop and why you decided to work with them.
So I'm working with Shawn, who owns Old Man Customs. He's been in the fabrication business for a lot of years. He's here local in Las Vegas now. I trust him on what he can do and what his capabilities are and just the contacts he has from maybe people who want to jump on board with sponsorships or even just do the work as far as interior or stereo or wiring. So you'll get to meet him in a minute.
All right, let's go. So, where are we, Kelli?
We are at Old Man Customs with Shawn Robinson. Okay. I'm going to show you my new Model Y.
What do you mean your new Model Y?
Well, it's only got 800 miles on it.
Well, they were tough miles, weren't they?
Oh, my heavens, yes.
All right, so can you tell us more about this thing?
So we've decided to break down a new Model Y and take all its components and move it over to a truck.
All right. So what were the steps? Obviously, you had a complete car, and how was the process of taking it to bits?
So what they did is they took each piece off one at a time, tried to see what kind of codes might throw up on the computer, what things could be taken away with the car still being able to run and be okay. So till we got all the way down to the shell.
All right. So very low mileage car, dual motor, and this is going to become quite a truck. Let's talk to the builder, Shawn, okay?
Yes, of course. Let's go.
I'm Shawn Robinson, owner of OMC here in Las Vegas, and with Kelli, we are starting her Tesla Ford truck build.
All right, so you've taken this to bits. There's nothing left, or not much.
No, there's nothing left. It's just a bare 2021 Tesla Y, just the body. We've stripped it of all wiring, sensors, drivetrain, batteries, dash, all the interior, everything out of it, so we can transfer it to her 62 F-100 unibody.
Okay. What was the process of taking it to bits?
So what we started with was the Tesla Y had 800 miles on it, and we slowly started disconnecting sensors to see what the system how the system would react as sensors were being disconnected, if it was still drivable, what codes, everything. So once we go to put it back together, we're able to know what we can eliminate and what we cannot eliminate. We ended up fully dismantling the whole car, dash, safety restraints, the screen, everything, and the car was still operational.
Okay.
So that definitely helped out to understand how the system operates.
So obviously there's no drivetrain left on this shell. Could you show us the parts you're going to repurpose?
Yep.
Well, that's easy to spot it. Wow.
Yeah, this is the main heart of the Tesla. We have the rear motor and the front motor. We will be using the cooling system for the motors, the rack and pinion, but I will be building a full custom chassis. Okay. It will be a bag over hydraulic system. We're going to put it on air, so the truck will actually lay completely on the ground.
So you're not choosing the easy option, going with an air suspension.
No, if we're, the way I look at it, at the caliber we're making the build, let's go all out.
All right.
Everything one-off, everything custom. Now, I'm not going to use the cradles or the spindles on this because in the long run, it's easier for me to build the full chassis to adapt these motors to it than trying to figure out how to make the factory stuff work. If we're going to, like I said, if we're going to build it, we're going to make it 100% custom.
Okay. So the wheelbase was different anyway, so it just makes more sense to use.
Correct. We are actually having to narrow the wheelbase.
Okay.
It is 3 inches too wide. Now, also since it's being a truck, the car's a lot shorter, so we have to make it longer.
Okay.
So then it's easier just to do a full chassis.
And the truck allows you for different wheels option also.
Correct. We're actually going to do a 22, 24 in the rear staggered billet wheel.
What about the weight? Do you anticipate the weight to be similar to the truck or rather to the Y?
More towards the Y. It's going to be heavy.
Okay.
It will be with actually running. We're going to use the factory battery. That's extremely heavy, and then with this drivetrain, and then all the sheet metal and the added components, electronics and stuff, it will be heavier than factory.
So the next component we need to review is the battery pack. And
Correct.
You're keeping the battery pack as one unit. You're not modifying it in any way.
Correct. It is going to be 100% the way it is from the factory. This is the battery, and the way we're going to build it, I'm going to build the chassis to go underneath it, so when it lays on the ground, it'll lay on the chassis, but protect the battery. Kind of almost exactly the way the Tesla is built, with the battery under the cab.
So you were mentioning cooling. You have to completely rethink the cooling. Obviously, if there's no octo valve you can repurpose, or are you going to try to use the original system?
We're going to use the original system, but obviously we have to, make new hoses because of going from the car to a truck, the length, that's going to change, but the system itself will be 100% original.
Okay.
The goal with it is to utilize every single thing that is Tesla that came with the Y.
Okay.
So when it powers back up in the truck body, it will still think it's a Tesla Y.
Could you remind us or tell us more about the process when you remove every single cable and wires. How do you lay it out? Do you lay it out on the board? Do you redesign the whole system?
Well, where we start is we, piece by piece, we started with taking the front end apart, the front bumper, taking those sensors off. Then we moved to the rear, took the hatch off, pulled the rear interior out, pulled the rear seat out. Then we started with the doors. We had to take the doors off because we're going from a 4-door to a 2-door. We had to see what the system's going to do because we're minus 2 doors. Luckily, the system recognized that the doors were missing and said they were closed. So it still worked. And then as we're taking it out, we take pictures, video, label every single sensor, connector, every wire. So when we're going back together with it, we know exactly what each piece goes to. And we did multiple, video, camera, picture, all that is a better way.
So from your experience, how far can you strip down a Tesla and still drive it?
So we were actually able to eliminate every single thing, the dash, the big monitor, safety restraints, seat belts, no seats, no front bumper, no rear bumper, no hatch, no doors, it was literally just a blank shell, and we were still able to operate it. The battery and the 12-volt battery was the only thing, and the brakes were the only thing that was still connected, and
So
it still operated.
In theory, you could build a very basic Tesla truck if you wanted to.
If we wanted to, correct. Realistically, we wanted to see how far we could go and make it still operational and eliminate as much as possible if we had to. The goal is to have every single thing, the cameras, AC, steering, everything from the Tesla into it. But at the end of the day, it's never been done. So we have to look at all avenues to where we might not be able to run this system, but the truck will still be operational.
So as you mentioned, no one has done this before, and you come from a pickup truck background. What were the main challenges in the first steps of the process?
Honestly, our biggest battle is, it sounds funny, but the headlights. They run off canvas. So it's not a normal operating system. So we have a big headlight that runs off of a canvas data signal, and we got to put in a small Ford headlight. Mm-hmm. So we got to figure out how to get that custom made. A lot of the system, the lights, the mirrors, all that work off canvas. Mm-hmm. So it's not like a normal car, like just 12-volt operating system. So that's our biggest challenge. Luckily, we're able to get with several computer guys that can help build that system for us.
Good stuff. If you were going to give an advice to someone trying to do the same thing, and at the stage you are right now, what would you recommend? Would you recommend starting maybe with a Model 3, maybe a Model X or S, or maybe another base?
Honestly, if you're going to try to attempt it, the Y or the 3 is actually the easiest to work with. You have a lot more room and it's more forgiving. Now, also, you want to make sure you get one that doesn't have the updated factory air ride system, things like that, because in the long run, it's going to make things a lot more difficult for you if you're going to try to attempt to build a custom chassis and all that.
And because you want to keep every single feature of the car, this should supercharge easily.
Correct.
Yeah. And again, the truck will think it's a Tesla Model Y.
Correct. The goal is when the truck powers up, it will still say it's a Tesla Y, other than it doesn't know that the outer shell is an F-100. And there's other people that have taken pieces of the Tesla and kind of made it work, but done a standalone system, wiring and operating system, stuff like that. The thing with this one is it is 100% Tesla. It will update, it will supercharge everything that the Y did.
So you will still have the full self-driving, opening the doors with the key if you wanted to.
It will have the lock. So on the pillar of the Ford, we're going to actually put the sensor. So it will have the key fob. So you'll be able to unlock it. The door handles are going into the truck. We're actually modifying it to go into that truck. All the features, the camera, self-drive, AC, everything from the Tesla will be in this truck.
Will you have any challenge with, say, the tailgate missing and the new tailgate from the bed? will it be motorized? Is there
The tailgate will be motorized. We're actually going to utilize the signal from the Tesla to operate an actuator that we're going to manipulate into it. So it will actually open the tailgate as a trunk.
Okay. So as you said, you're going all out on the build. You could have chosen like a basic Model 3 rear-wheel drive, smaller battery pack, which may have been much easier.
Yeah.
But as you say, all in.
If you're going, like I said, if we're going to do it all in and making it all-wheel drive, so 2 motors, the bigger battery, just at the end of the day, the final product will be that much better.
Okay.
You can always take an easy way out. I don't.
Okay. So talking about time frame, how do you anticipate building this? And completing
Roughly
it?
2 years.
2 years?
Yeah.
From today or from a year ago? Or
From today.
From today. Okay. All right. So cutting it all in parts was the easy bit.
It was, we actually were able to disassemble the whole car, get everything done in about a week and a half.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah, it's not a long time frame, but a week and a half to disassemble a car and make sure, label it, all that. The time consuming part of it is building the full custom chassis, and everything is custom made. So it's not, oh, let me go look in a book or anything or a manual. It's all up here. Okay. I got to make it work.
Could you briefly break down the different steps? So the chassis build, installing the shell of the truck on it, and then making it all work.
So the next step is actually we're going to bring the F-100 to the shop. We're going to strip it down to a bare body. I'm going to get all my measurements. I actually design it in CAD. I draw everything up. Once it's drawn, I take all my measurements and design the chassis in CAD. Then we will put it on the frame table and put the motors, the axles, wheels, and tires, and start building the chassis from there.
All right. So we look forward to seeing it. So we'll come back in probably 6 months and a year and follow the whole process. And that should be quite fantastic. I look forward to seeing this at the SEMA show probably in 2 years now.
Correct.
And maybe at other shows before that. So yeah, it's a fantastic build. Congratulations on even considering building that. And then the first steps are already there. The part is in parts. All the drivetrain is ready to be assembled. All right, perfect. Thank you very much, Shawn and Kelli, and we'll check in about 6 months.
All right, great.
All right.
Thank you.